Welcome, my friends, to the most spirited season of them all.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. To you, who? To you, who? To you, who? To you and you.
Ladies and gentlemen, bats and ghouls, Mickey, Minnie, and all their friends have come together at this spookiest time of year to say boo to you.
Boo to you, boo to you, boo to you and you.
Good evening, and welcome to episode 15 of the Diz Explorers podcast. It is Monday, August 22nd, 2016. As the summer's winding down, next thing that falls in line is, at least in the Disney universe, is Halloween. So this episode, we are chock full of Halloween facts and stories from all different places around the Disney universe. We're going to explore Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and the cruise line as well. And tonight we've got a full cast for the first time in a couple weeks, so this is going to be really great and really special and lots of stuff. So get yourself a drink, unless you're driving. Then put your earphones on and get ready for some Halloween Disney extravaganza. Joining us tonight, we have, back from a couple weeks of bouncing all over the place, is Melanie.
Hi there.
And we've got Adrian.
Hello.
And Jessica.
Hello.
And Crystal.
Hey, you all.
And Milford.
Hello.
And I'm RJ. So, we're going to start off tonight in Walt Disney World, because that's what I'm most familiar with, and then each of us is going to just give you some information on, like I said earlier, about the cruise or Disneyland and the different themes and events that they do on those respective properties. So over in Walt Disney World, we have what's called Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And to the best of my knowledge in doing research, this began in 2005 as a special event, a hard-ticketed event, which means it's not included in park admission. You need to buy a separate ticket to enter the park for this party on select nights during September and October, and believe the first day of November they still do the last party. The Halloween party, basically what happens is at 7 o'clock p.m. on a party night, the Magic Kingdom becomes officially closed to normal day guests, unless you have that special ticket, which now it's linked to your Magic Bands. In days past, it used to be an actual separate card they used to give you, and then you swipe that to get in, and they gave you a bracelet. That way cast members knew who belonged there and who didn't. Now, they won't officially throw you out of the park, but they do, as it gets going, try to usher people who aren't wearing those bracelets out of the park. And they are very strict about that as the night goes on, because it really is, for what you're paying for it, you want to be, it's a limited ticket, so the park isn't full to capacity, but it has gotten very busy over the past couple of years as far as to the amount of guests that they let in. I think they've been widening the numbers on how many tickets they sell. So, the park is dark as normal, but it's got Halloween-themed music playing over the speakers throughout Main Street and the different areas. It's got, I believe now they do nice projections and like swooping bats and pumpkins and stuff that are around the buildings and stuff on Main Street. The decor that they put out in the parks for the fall season is just, to me, it's like a shade behind the Christmas decorations. I mean, the fall stuff is just fantastic, between the colors of the foliage and all the pumpkins they put all over the place. I mean, the Magic Kingdom really is decked out head to toe, and pretty much focused more around the Main Street area, but it does spill out into the other lands to some extent. The merchandise that's out, everything is just fantastic. So as far as the party goes, It's just going to give a basic rundown, and then we'll share some stories with you of stuff that tips and tricks and stuff we've liked and costumes and all that. So for the Halloween party at the Magic Kingdom, they have a parade. It's called Mickey's Boo to You Parade, which is a great parade. Only run on the party nights. So the characters are all decked out, and usually every year or every couple of years they're in different costumes. I'm trying to remember the last one I was at. I think Mickey was a jester, Donald was in a jail uniform, Goofy was, I believe, Count Dracula, and I think Minnie was a witch, I believe, and they've rotated to different things. So the parade comes down Main Street, starts in Frontierland, and works its way around the same parade route as the day parade, and they run that parade twice during the party. First one's at 8:35, and the second one is at 11:15. So the park, I should have started at the beginning of the park. Like I said, 7 o'clock it starts, and it's open till midnight, and that's a 5-hour window for the party. Then they also do a special fireworks show called Hallowishes, and now, since they've been doing the projection show, the Celebrate the Magic is usually 15 minutes before Wishes, so about 9:45. And then also in between that, last year, for the Castle Stage Show, it used to be the Villains Mix and Mingle, which had a great group of villains that you wouldn't normally see, that aren't out all the time. I know Dr. Facilier was there, Hades, the Evil Queen, Maleficent, I believe the bowler hat guy they introduced last year, and a few others I just can't think of. That ended 2 years ago, and last year was the first year they did what's called the Hocus Pocus Villains Spectacular. So it's based on the movie with the Sanderson sisters. So they're up there. I have not seen it yet, so I don't know much about it. But they run that show in between the parades and the fireworks. So they run that 4 different times a night out on the Castle 4 stage. So you can certainly line up for that and get your spot for everything all at once. Kind of same procedures as you would do for the regular nighttime fireworks and parades and projection show. You just kind of find your spot and stay there. The problem with the Halloween party is there's so much other stuff going on. There's trick-or-treat stations all over the park where you line up and they can give you candy. They hand out bags for you. And there's dance parties that they do at a couple different spots, usually over in Cosmic Rays. Sometimes in the old Diamond Horseshoe Review, they have one. And different characters are themed there. Usually the one in the Diamond Horseshoe has been Woody and Jesse and Bullseye. And the one over Cosmic Rays was always Stitch that I remember in there. There's no way to do it all in one party. It really isn't. And they roll out a ton of different characters that are usually never out. I know Jack and Sally meet people over by not the town hall, on the left side of Main Street, in between the bank and where the firehouse used to be. I guess it's still the firehouse, but it's the trading card station. So that always gets a big line. And Snow White and all 7 dwarfs are out. I believe back in Fantasyland, probably. They used to put them by Splash Mountain, but I think now that the mine train is open, they're over there now. And quite a few other ones too. That I think Aladdin and Jasmine, I believe, are there as well. So it's they give you maps and special times guides along with it, so you can make your way around and kind of figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to go about your night. The ride lines are generally shorter because many people who go for the first time, and many people go, and there's 3 different, I guess, groups. There's people who go and they want to hit all the rides because people are waiting, because the other group of people like to see the parades and the fireworks and all that special activity. Then the third group of people like to hit all the different characters. So you kind of pick which flock you're going to go with and make your night in that way. The only other thing I see that they've done, I don't know if they've done it in years past, I did notice that they do it this year, is there's a premium package they offer on top of the party night price for an extra $70, it looks like. It's called the Hallowishes premium package, I believe, and they do that at the Tomorrowland Terrace. So what that includes is at 7:30, with your extra payment for this package, they escort you people over to the flagpole in the circle in the front of Main Street by the train station, and that's where you view the parade from. After the parade is over, you all walk back to the Tomorrowland Terrace, and then you're seated out on that patio there to watch the projection show, and then for wishes to start at 10:15. So it doesn't seem like a bad deal if you're into that, and it includes dessert and there's no drinks because it's the Magic Kingdom, but maybe sparkling cider or something along those lines. So that's another thing they offer for an additional fee. That's the basics of it. For me, myself, I've been to 3 parties. First one I went to was 2007 when my kids were way too young to go to it, and I really didn't see much other than part of the parade because one child was sleeping in a stroller and the other one was clutched to me with his fingers in his ears because everything was too loud. So that one was I didn't really see much.
Oh no.
And then the next one I went to was 2011, and that was when we all kind of got dressed up. I was in full pirate regalia as Blackbeard from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. We did the Pirates League. My son was Jack Sparrow. My wife was dressed up as a pirate. I believe my daughter, because she has to be different, was dressed as Batman.
I don't know where she gets that from.
I don't know.
Long franchise.
Yeah, well, so, and then we went again in 2013 with a large group of us, and I did not bring the whole giant costume that year. The kids dressed up. I believe my daughter was Batman again. I think my son wore his Jack Sparrow again with his cousin, and I just brought the hat, and I think I had just a shirt, and that was about it. So I love it. It's other than Christmas, it's my second favorite time of year to be down there because of the decorations, and I like Halloween anyway, so it's just a lot of fun. And my wife and I are going again this year, just the two of us, and because all the rest of my fellow troop members are going on different Halloween excursions, I had felt the pressure not to be the odd man out and ended up buying tickets the other night to get for the Halloween
Disney
party,
peer
so.
pressure.
I know.
You've gotten in with the wrong crowd.
Nah, that's all
True.
right.
We're trouble.
That's okay. It's persuasion in a good way. So now that I've yammered on about all the boring stuff, I'm going to open up the floor to the rest of the crew, and we're going to touch on some of the other things, the cruise line, and Jessica can fill us in over on Disneyland. So, floor is yours, troopers.
I'm just listening because I'm going to my very first one in like less than 2 weeks.
Oh,
so
wow.
I know. So I'm really excited to learn it all. I don't know what group I'm going to be in.
You're going to love
those 3.
You're going to go nuts, Adrian, because you can't. It's hard to plan it because it's.
I know. I'm struggling.
I can. The only advice I can give you is character-wise. Like the only people, if you definitely want to see Jack and Sally, you pretty much got to get there. They open the park up at 4 if you're
right
to get in for the party, and I think people start lining up not too long after that. And
they usually start those characters early too. They'll usually put them out about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
They don't wait till 7, especially those ones that get long lines.
Okay, that I did not
feel
know.
like-
So there you go.
I feel like a person, how people must feel on their very first Walt Disney World trip, because I have no idea. I don't know how to prioritize. I'm like, I feel like a fish out of water, but I'm also so excited about it.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, we've been to, I think, 3 Halloween parties now. We've done a few without kids and then one with our son. You do get an annual pass holder discount, so I know you're officially an annual pass holder now. So it's only a few dollars, but it's definitely worth it if you haven't purchased your tickets just yet.
Oh, we already have, but
There's also a DVC discount.
DVC discount, yeah. On select nights, though.
On select nights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I highly recommend getting there early and just doing some people watching. Like just show up at 4:00 and sit there at the plaza with some ice cream and watch everyone walk in. It is so much fun. Like random people were coming up to us and taking pictures of like our family costumes. But I mean, just the creativity that goes into some of the costumes is amazing. So I would say get there early, watch everyone come in, and you cannot miss the stage shows as well as the parades. Those two are, I mean, they're just incredible. The Hocus Pocus stage show from last year, the characters do such a good job. I mean, they nail the Sanderson sisters. It's such a cute show. Yeah, I mean, even their mannerisms and stuff. And then the fireworks show is amazing. And that's really what separates it and makes you feel like it's worth paying the extra money for the tickets. Because otherwise you are just getting a regular fireworks show. They have a castle show as well as a parade. But it's the fact that you can only see it at that time during the Halloween party. In addition to that, you know, the cast members, they wear different costumes as well. And then they put out some sweet treats. You know, they do the apples and Rice Krispie treats and stuff that are Halloween specific. And then they'll also have special merchandise during the Halloween party. So they'll do pins. And then a cool thing that we always try to collect during the parties is the Sorcerer Mickey cards. So they'll do a special one for just the Halloween parties. So it might be Chip and Dale or Nightmare Before Christmas character, but you got to go in there and there's only a select number for each night. So I recommend doing that early.
Wow.
Right, yeah, definitely. Even the merchandise, I can attest to that, because what they do is they pretty much only sell it at the Emporium on Main Street, and I believe maybe one of the bigger shops in Tomorrowland. But all the shops, what they do is the doors are closed, which you usually never see. The doors are closed, and every entrance has a cast member staged by it, and they're going to ask to see your proof. Now that with Magic Bands, they probably just scan to make sure you're a paid party guest, because they really want to make sure that the merchandise and the special stuff is for the people who have paid their extra money to get the stuff.
Yeah, with that, even though that your ticket is on your band, they still give you a wristband.
Yes, they still do give you a separate wristband. And I tell you, and I can tell you from experience, if you forget or do not get your stuff the night of the party, you can go back the next day. And this happened to me because I forgot to get the shirts, just because with the kids and everything, it just didn't work out. And I went back the next day, and I spoke with a manager at the Emporium, and he said, as long as you can prove that you were here. So this was before Magic Bands. They had the hard ticket, like it was another swipe card. So I brought that in, and the guy said, okay, and he let me purchase whatever shirts I wanted to purchase. He went in the back and asked me what sizes and colors and so on and so forth. So as long as you've paid for it, you're still entitled to that merchandise, even if you can't get it that night. I mean, like, if this was in 2011, so 5 years ago, I don't know that policy would have changed, but, I know it's a pain to carry bags around, but some of that stuff does sell out fairly quick. I know you're going the first weekend, Adrian, so I think you'll be safe as far as that with the shirts and stuff like that. I'm a junkie with stuff like that. Any special event, anything, I have to have it. So that's always high on my list.
Yeah, it's great that you're going early too, because the crowds aren't as bad. You get more like podcasters, bloggers in the beginning, and so they're not really on the rides. So if you're looking to hit several of the rides, that's a great time to go too, because the lines are going to be short. But the closer you get to Halloween, the more locals go, and it will sell out. The week leading into Halloween is packed. And they've added in additional parties. I think they only did it a couple days a week before, and now almost every single day they have a party because they're able to sell it out.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 days. I think it's 4 nights a week, and that Halloween week it may be 5 or 6 nights, and those get expensive. I mean, the closer you get, the price goes up.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my question about rides. Y'all are talking a lot about, the rides are shorter, the lines are shorter. Is it like actually shorter, or is it like Disney line shorter?
No, it's actually short. By the time the second parade rolls around at 11:15, most stuff is just a walk on.
Oh, that's
cool.
With even Thunder Mountain's going to be closed. I'll use that as the example. I remember going on that and just getting off and getting right back on. It's type thing. As the night goes down and people tucker out and kids are shot and they're wandering out of the parks, the early parade will be the busiest because people line up for that first, because then it's the trifecta. It's the parade, you're standing there, you hit this class, you watch the stage show, then celebrate the magic, and then Hallowishes at 10. After 10, usually the people with younger kids who are already kind of shot, I won't say that it happens every time, park won't empty out, but there'll be a pretty big mass exodus after Hallowishes, and maybe a third of the crowd will get out of there because they've seen what they've want to see, and younger kids are done by then. So
yeah, that'll probably be me. You know, my kids can't handle that.
Right. But you know what, Adrian? Honestly, if the first time you're going, if that's what you get done, then you know what, like Crystal said, you've gotten your money's worth, because those three shows, 4 with the castle show, really are worth the price of admission. Yes, it's fun going on the rides at night in the dark and stuff like that, but you know what? They're still the same. They don't do anything different inside the rides.
What my wife and I try to do, we usually get into the park about 4 o'clock, and because people know the park closes early, they start clearing it out of the park about 4:30, 5 o'clock. After that parade at 3 o'clock's over with, they know there's not fireworks. They're out of there.
Yeah.
So we go and we try and catch a lot of the rides then so that we can save the time during the actual party to see all the shows. And then the other thing, there's a few other entertainment options in the park as well. If you go to the paddle wheel boat, there's storytellers on that. And you actually sit in there and they tell little ghost stories.
Oh, right. Yes, yes.
There's the band, the little 4-piece band that roams around in Frontierland. They dress up basically kind of like zombie-looking things, and they walk around in the park playing Halloween music. Which is kind of cool. I will add that there's a dance party in Tomorrowland as well, and a lot of times there you can catch the Incredibles. So Mr. and Mrs. Incredible was out there. Buzz Lightyear was out there, and I think Space Goofy was out there as well.
I believe, that's
just really cool because you never see him in that costume.
You haven't seen that since Epcot in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that crazy costume, though, that silver one with the rainbow.
Oh,
in the
no,
front.
it's not the crazy silver one, no.
But that's the one they do outside by that, where they do like the Tomorrowland Christmas show and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that old stage right there in front of where the Skyway station used to be.
Yep. They do the whole dance party there, yes. And since you mentioned that other entertainment, I forgot, the Dapper Dans are out as well, but they are called the Cadaver Dans.
Yes.
And they are all done up in makeup, and they sing Halloween spooky songs and stuff like that. And that is fantastic to watch, because those guys are awesome anyway, but to see them out of their regular character, and their makeup is done to the nines. Like, they look like dead people. It's fantastic. It's so cool. Even if you just get pictures of them or something. But yeah, there's no shortage of stuff to do on the night. It's really a shame that it's not like, starting in the afternoon for people, because there's just so much to do.
Yeah, just to add to that, when we were there last year, we did see some longer lines. In particular, the candy lines got pretty long. I would say 30 to 40 minutes to get candy per line, but we were raking in candy. I mean, our son isn't even old enough to eat candy, and we left with just bags full of candy. It was pretty
they have
crazy.
A quota.
Yeah,
they are given so many boxes of candy, and they
what
try
kind
to
of candy?
Oh, it's all over the place. It's
name brand though. They give you the good stuff.
It's good stuff,
Yeah.
and I think it's a lot of Nestle stuff, and it's
Willy
not like
Wonka, Nestle. Willy Wonka's part of Nestle.
Yep, it's
It
not
is.
junk.
Pretty much all Nestle stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah. No,
Oh,
definitely good stuff.
and there were squirrel nut zippers in there.
What?
You guys do know what a squirrel nut zipper is, right?
No.
I know the band. I don't know.
Well, they got the name from this candy. It's actually a little peanut butter piece of candy that's kind of crunchy, but got a kind of peanut butter center in it, and they're awesome.
Oh, never heard
But they
of
give those out. So they give a lot of that penny candy stuff out too. So you remember the old like, I call it saltwater taffy, but it's not. But it had the peanut butter stuff on the inside of it.
No,
Okay.
I'm not a candy person, so.
But yeah, they have a quota, and their theory, the cast members' theory is they don't have to truck any of that back to storage, so they give away all of it if they can. I actually had cast members tell me that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I mean, they were just dumping candy in our bags. It was crazy. And then the line for Haunted Mansion, that one stays pretty strong. That one seemed to be, 45 minutes to an hour the entire time. And they did have characters on the lawn during the queue. and they were
yes.
interacting with the guests as they went through the line. So that was really a unique experience that they don't typically have.
That's right. I forgot about that. They have that. Oh, I can't think of what her name is supposed to be. She sits on the bench, like up on the hill where the where the carriage is, and she's just spooky as all hell, and talking with people and messing with people and stuff. Yeah, that's right. That's fantastic. That's really cool too. Yeah, and you can just walk up there and watch her, even if you're not in the queue line. But I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then if you are taking your kids with you too, I would recommend checking out either the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique or Pirates League, and they could potentially like grab their costumes there and have the full, makeup, hair, everything to get them ready to go for the party. But you do have to book that in advance because I think it fills up pretty quickly. But I saw a lot of families doing that where they would go into the Pirates League as a group, get the Pirates garb put on, and then head out into the Not So Scary party.
Yep, definitely.
And if you can't get it booked at the Magic Kingdom, it's open at Disney Springs again now, too.
Oh, okay, right.
They moved it out of World of Disney.
Yes, that's right. It's in a new location. Cool. Yeah, so there's tons of stuff over at Disney World.
What about the, aren't there new rules this year about costumes?
Yes, we can go over those quickly. Yeah, so basically... No, go ahead, Mel.
No, I was wondering, and if it was it just for Mickey's Not So Scary, or is it for both coasts?
I did not look at the Disneyland version, but I gotta imagine it's the same across the board. Basically, their guidelines are, they reserve the right to deny admission to anybody who's wearing something that they fear is inappropriate or that can be a bother to the guests. Guests may dress as their favorite character, but they cannot pose for pictures or sign autographs for other guests. Costumes must be family-friendly, not be obstructive, offensive, objectionable, or violent. Costumes may not contain any weapons that resemble or could be easily mistaken for an actual weapon. Costumes may not contain sharp objects, pointed objects, or materials that may accidentally strike another guest. Guests who do not adhere to these guidelines may be refused entry or removed from unless his or her costume can be modified to meet the standards. Now that's the general rules. For children 13 and under, some masks may be worn as long as it does not cover their entire face and their eyes can be seen. And then for 14 and older, the extras are layered costumes or costume props that surround the entire body are strongly discouraged and may be subject to additional security screening. Costumes may not reach or drag on the ground. So I know that was a big thing that's new for this year. So for people who are making their own costumes for princess dresses and so on and so forth, they can't touch the ground. They got to be, I guess, above your ankle at least. And capes, this was another one. No capes. Actually, you can wear a cape, but it cannot go below the waist. So it kind of loses the effect, but if you still wanted to do it, you could. Themed t-shirts, blouses, sweatshirts, and hats are acceptable. And the only acceptable accessories are transparent wings, for example, fairy wings, plastic lightsabers, toy swords, which I'm surprised, and tutus. Headwear can be worn as long as it does not cover the face, and no masks of any kind. So that's for the above 14. So I'm assuming over in Disneyland and all the other parks, it's the same.
Yeah, and the wording about saying like T-shirts and themed stuff is acceptable had a lot of Disneyland people at least really worried because they thought that meant adults couldn't wear costumes. But a friend of mine actually called them to book her ticket so she could specifically ask, and they said no, adults can wear costumes, but I guess the reason they phrased it so vague is because they kind of wanted to discourage it, which is definitely different from years past.
Right, absolutely. So those are the changes. I think the most major one is the dresses and the capes and the layered costumes. Those I don't remember being as strong, but additional security measures that they've had to do over the past few months, and so I guess this is the result of that. So, for those of you making your own, or I think any off-the-rack costume is safe, any princess costume and so on and so forth that you can buy, I believe. None of them really drag on the ground. Should be safe in that respect. All right, so I know what I want to hear about is definitely what goes on the cruise lines. And so we've we've got 3 people on this crew who have been on Halloween cruises. So let's hear what they have to say. What goes on the ship? Some hijinks on the high seas, which I believe is what it's actually called, isn't it?
It's Halloween on the high seas, and I'm actually going to have to, I do have information about it, but this year I am going on my very first Halloween on the high seas cruise, so I have been in full-on research mode and figuring out what I can plan and what I can't. It's only a 3-night sailing, so there will be some overlapping of the Pirate Night festivities and the Halloween on the high seas festivities, so I'm looking forward to listening to your experience. While we're on the subject of costumes, Disney Cruise Line also has a no face mask policy for anybody. They do use facial recognition software as part of their security protocol. Basically, I always tell people, if you're not in your stateroom or if you're not in one of the public restrooms, just consider yourself on camera. If you're anywhere outside of your stateroom or a restroom, you're on closed circuit security cameras. So they do use that facial recognition software to make sure that you are supposed to be on the ship. And face masks are a no-no. They do allow face masks for posed character meet and greets only. You may put on the mask while you are in front of the photographer, but before your party leaves the photography area, that mask has to be removed again. Although why anybody would want to stand in line for however long you're standing in line just to put a mask over your face while you're meeting the character is beyond me, but
I guess that's probably more for the kids, maybe.
I think it's a partial safety issue as well at sea, and just like at the parks now, there are no toy guns allowed. Any replica weapons, can you even say that one? If they are realistic replicas, they may be not necessarily confiscated, but you may be encouraged to return it to your stateroom. Although I'm thinking most pirate swords, as long as they're obviously plastic, are going to be okay. And as long as lightsabers are obviously store-bought and not homemade, they do not allow homemade lightsabers, I guess because they can't control how dangerous they are. Although, darn if my kids could do some damage on each other with some lightsabers. Whew, when episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out, my kids love lightsabers. But they are allowed as long as they're the store-bought variety. Even though that they're technically replica weapons, it's okay. But there are a number of events and special goodies that Disney Cruise Line has that I'm looking forward to experiencing. So, Milford, you've been on one of these, haven't you?
Yeah, we actually went last year, and it was the first. It was the first weekend because we went Labor Day weekend last year, and it was the first weekend of the Halloween on the high seas, at least on the Dream. It was it wasn't the weekend; it was through that week. So it was a 4-night, 5-day, and they have some really cool stuff going on. So in the lobby, for Christmas they put a giant Christmas tree. For Halloween, they have this giant tree that has a face on it, and it has pumpkin lit up, kind of like jack-o'-lanterns hung in the tree.
It's the pumpkin tree.
It's the pumpkin tree. and every night they have a little show where the guy that comes out looks like the guy with the dog from the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, cool.
He's the caretaker.
He kind of comes out with a lantern and comes kind of hobbling out, and he does the story about the pumpkin spirit and summoning the pumpkin spirit from the tree. And when they summon the spirit from the tree, the pumpkins in the tree all light up, and there's this pumpkin spirit voice that's really deep and growly and comes out of the tree when they do this. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
And I think they do that every night. Now, on the most of them, they didn't on ours because they didn't have the tree up until the 3rd night. They were still
a little behind.
They were still through the night getting stuff put up because the Labor Day weekend cruise was not a Halloween on the high seas cruise. The night of that cruise for the Halloween night that they have, which will be different than the Pirate Night. Your fireworks and everything will still be on Pirate Night, but they do have Halloween parties all over the ship. So they'll have a Halloween party for the kids in the atrium. They show Nightmare Before Christmas up on the funnel vision on the top deck. And they have an adult Halloween party in the adult area, which last year was kind of comical.
I can only imagine.
Some of these adults come in some pretty strange and some raunchy costumes.
I could only imagine.
And knowing the crazy crew I'm sailing with, I have no idea what to expect. Oh my goodness!
A bunch of travel agents.
I am going with a bunch of travel agents. It is going to be so much fun. I will probably be the tamest one there.
Maybe.
Then we want pictures and documentation of the nonsense.
The funniest thing of the Halloween party on the ship last year for the adults was there was a guy dressed up as Deadpool, and the entertainment host kept calling him Spider-Man. And everybody in the crowd would keep yelling, "That's not Spider-Man, that's Deadpool." And then
chimichangas. Did they please?
The entertainment host from Europe, he's like, "Who the heck is Deadpool?" Everybody in the crowd
hurt me.
Booed him. So, but there's a lot of cool stuff that happens, and Mel, you'll have a blast. You will.
Oh, I know I will.
I'm trying to think.
My costume is more of a Disney bounding kind of thing, so yeah. It's more the spirit of the character versus a literal interpretation. So
as far as characters go, I mean, obviously they'll have Mickey and Minnie and the Fab Five pretty much all in Halloween costumes in the atrium for pictures. There'll be princesses all over for pictures. They'll have Jack and Sally. Probably they usually have them up in that area right outside of the Disney Theater. Or the Walt Disney Theater. And then I'm sure, even though he'll be out on Pirate Night, Jack Sparrow will be around the boat. And usually Pirate Stitch shows up to both parties. There's a multitude. I mean, the Chip and Dale will be in Halloween costumes. And then there's a stage show they do up on the top deck for the Halloween night as well. That's kind of like the Sail Away party. So it's like a 15-minute show.
Cool.
Nowhere near as big as the Pirate Night show, but still kind of fun to catch.
Yeah, this will be our second Halloween on the high seas. So we're getting ready to go at the end of September. So I think it's the first week of the Halloween on the high seas cruise. But last year we had a ton of fun. The decorations are awesome. I mean, they do just as good of a job as they do in the parks, and they'll have like the big windows, the portals will actually look like a jack-o'-lantern. They'll do like an overlay on all of the windows and just deck out the big lobby area when you come in. In addition to the tree, there's, they have banners with the Halloween colors. And then the trick-or-treating and the dance party was a ton of fun. Most of the time you had to play a game in order to get the candy, but our son was so young, we didn't really worry about it. But there are trick-or-treat bags that they put in your room. So there's an opportunity to get quite a bit of candy on the cruise. And then this year, I saw that they're doing costume contests. So they have best group, most Mickey, most spooky, and most original during the Mickey's Mouse Parade. So pretty cool stuff. I'm excited. We already have our costumes all picked out. So
nice. Cool.
Fun.
So what are your guys' costumes? You must reveal now.
All right, so we're going super cheesy. Our son loves Cinderella right now. So our son is going to be Prince Charming, and then Mom has to be Princess of Cinderella. So I'm going to be Cinderella. My husband's going to go as one of the mice, Gus. And then my in-laws are also getting in on this. So my mother-in-law is going to be the fairy godmother, and her boyfriend is going to be the coachman. And then my mom and grandmother, I think we're going to go Lucifer the cat, and then possibly another mouse. So we're going to have like the entire group in on it.
That's fantastic.
Now I must.
Yeah, so we're pretty pumped.
I must ask, how come your husband doesn't get to be Prince Charming?
Well, my son is Prince Charming,
oh,
and
that's
I was
right.
trying I was trying to sell him on being an evil stepsister, but he was not going for the ugly stepsister vibe. Yeah, so I was like,
I would have done that, and I would have wore the big butt thing for the dress too.
oh, it would have been hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't convince him of it. And then we also got our son a Captain Hook outfit for Pirate Night. So
Nice.
he's going to get to kind of double up on outfits.
Cool. That's awesome. How about you, Mel? What are you going to do for your... I know you're not going full out, but what's your...
I'm not, because poor me. This will be a working cruise for me so that I can get a lot of things up for DCL Prep School. It's a hard job. Somebody has to work on a Disney cruise. So I'm going for comfort so that I can easily move around. I found while I was shopping with my daughter a beautiful little sheath dress, which for you guys who don't know what a sheath dress is, it's kind of a tank top dress, a little bit of an A-line to it. And it has these little bitty aqua colored circles all over it. And when you stand back, they look like bubbles. Very Little Mermaid. And then in another store, I found the perfect purple shrug that is the same color as her seashells. So I've got the purple shrug with the bubbly Little Mermaid colored dress, and I haven't figured out my shoes yet, but my daughter has looked through all of her seashells and accessories to help accessorize myself so that I definitely look like a Little Mermaid.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. It's a nice way for me to be comfortable, yet still definitely festive. It was so fun when I found that purple shrug sweater to go over the dress. I was ecstatic because the colors are perfect. So anybody who's been Disney bounding, when you find the perfect accessory to complete the Disney bounding outfit, you know how good that feels.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm very excited. I also have, even though it's kind of the same night, I may wear it during the day just for the Pirate Day part of it. I've got a Mr. Smee kind of outfit going on. I've got the denim capris with the blue and white striped shirt and the brown sandals and the red toboggan kind of hat that he has.
Nice.
And I'll probably just have to wear my glasses that day and go without the contacts so I can be
awesome.
Be all in my Mr. Smee gear.
That's cool.
So I've got the 1-2 punch. I've got both of those going. So I'm excited. There's so much going on. I'm looking forward to my first Spooky Juice. Hopefully they have that this year. I did see on one of the navigators from last year, hopefully they'll do that again this year for the kids on board, in Vibe. And it's not just exclusively for the Halloween on the High Seas, although I think it's definitely much more in the spirit. In the Teen Club Vibe, they do a really cool thing with the kids where the kids make a movie. And the movie is called Zombified. And there are pre-recorded portions with Disney actors, not nobody you'd know, but there are pre-recorded portions, and then the kids star in certain segments as well. And then I guess the Vibe crew members, the counselors, they edit it together, and it's one 15-minute movie. And on our cruise, they played it in the Buena Vista Theater. But it's really cool. You get to see your own kids play parts in the movie, and then it's up on the big screen. But that's something that they'll do while they're in the kids club. So check out your navigator, because I remember when they were recording it, that was on the navigator so that the kids knew that that's when they needed to go to be a part of it. And it was really neat. I gotta say, seeing my kids up on the big screen like that was so funny. So if you've got teenagers and you don't know exactly what they're going to do, or if you think it's if things like the Masquerade Party doesn't seem like it's up their alley because, they're teenagers and they're too cool for little kid stuff. You're right. I think my teenagers behave like 4-year-olds the entire time we're there, and they just love it. But it is nice that Disney does have things just for them as well. But I'm also looking forward to the Haunted Stories at Sea, where they have up on Funnel Vision the spooky ghost stories. So they'll have the creepy sea captain telling spooky stories up on the pool deck.
those were pretty cool last year. Kind of corny, but they were pretty cool.
Hey, I'm okay with a little bit of corny. It's all good.
Well, find me a Disney show or something that isn't corny or campy, and I got a bridge to sell you.
That's why we like it.
I was just gonna say that's part of why we like it. The stuff fits. It works all the way around. The kids like it. They don't get most of the humor, but they're seeing the characters and they're getting the experience they want, and it keeps the adults engaged because you're looking for the underlying part or the, none of it's ever raunchy or out of place, but it's just, the timing is great on it. So, and it's the cast members usually that sell it and really make it. And I know it's not Halloween, but the best way you can see a show like this that's running currently on a daily basis is either the Frozen sing-along in the studios, because those people they have as the historians have got to be some of the best, and I'm sure some of it is scripted lines, and I'm sure they go out of the lines many a times and just play off each other. And the Hoop-Dee-Doo review. You can't, it doesn't get any better than those two shows for campiness and just all-around great humor. Neither have anything to do with Halloween.
I love Hoop-Dee-Doo. We need to do an episode on Hoop-Dee-Doo.
Oh, I'd love it.
Yes, please.
We must.
Yeah. I don't
Research trip.
Yeah, for real. I can't. Yeah, that's the first thing on the list. For April, we can make our reservations on October 10th. And I told my father, because he's the one that's going to be doing it, I said, the only thing I want to do, and the kids want to see it again too, is Hoop-Dee-Doo. I don't care where else we eat. We're doing that show again. So yeah, we'll save that for another episode.
But it was almost 2 years ago now we were there, and we were at the table that is plumb smashed up against the stage. So we were front and center, and I didn't think I would like it because I'm like, okay, my neck is going to break. But loved being right there. So yeah, we'll definitely have to give some time to Hoop-Dee-Doo because it deserves some love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys will have to convince me on why I've never gone.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
I know.
It was a long hiatus for me because I went as a kid with my parents, and then it was a long time before I brought my kids to see it again.
Yeah, we just last year for the first time did Trails End Buffet.
Oh man!
So,
Same
yeah,
food.
We'll definitely be back.
Yeah,
to that.
yeah, pretty much same food.
Yeah, I know they're right next to one another, right?
They are.
Same food.
So I was that close.
The good thing is that the wine and I think a beer is included in the meal with Hoop-Dee-Doo. So
yes.
it's
Unlimited.
a beverage.
Okay.
It's unlimited. Yes, adult beverages are included.
I think it's just wine and
beer.
In beer, but let me tell you, and I'm the only one who drinks in beer in my crew. My parents don't drink, and my wife doesn't drink beer. Oh, there was a lot of pitchers of beer that I drank that night to myself. So
when Disney's doing the driving,
I tell you what, man, and you had some good choices too. It wasn't just like Bud Light. I think I had pitchers of Yingling, so it was good stuff.
And just to bring it all home in full circle, the characters, for the Hoop-Dee-Doo review, Google it. Great costume options for these Halloween parties. Great costumes for Hoop-Dee-Doo. So if you're looking for inspiration for what on earth to wear, check out. It's very Little House on the Prairie meets Broadway.
Yep, simple costumes. At least like the fellas' costumes
very
are.
Simple.
Just like think like Broadway vaudeville. The high pants with the suspenders, striped, vertical striped shirts and big lapels. The girls' costumes in the shows are the big poofy dresses and stuff. So I'm sure you could always do something very similar to that. Maybe like poodle skirt length instead of full length, and not as gigantic.
More of an homage.
Right. Yeah, but you can definitely get really great ideas from that show. Absolutely.
They absolutely do. So check that out.
And it's great when you see people thinking outside the box like that, doing stuff. Seeing regular characters and the ones that we all know are great. But when every once in a while, like Crystal said, we did that one year too. We just we were already at the park and just kind of sat down somewhere and just watched the people coming through the gates and in various forms of how they're dressed up. And it's every once in a while you do a double take. You're like, what's that supposed to be? And you're like, who are they supposed to be? And and you try to figure it out.
So what I've always wanted to do with the group is I've seen the T-shirts that I'm not sure if they had it made or if they used one of those, Disney-inspired T-shirt sites, but there was a T-shirt that had the logo for Beverly Soda on it. So I'm thinking if we could get the logos for the entire fountain of sodas them, the whole group could go as
Club Cool, yeah, Ice Station Cool,
Club
or whatever
Cool.
it's called now.
Exactly, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
we could all go as the Club Cool kids. Club Cool kids.
That's hysterical.
So something very simple yet out of the box and whimsical. So I'll be Beverly, or actually I think I want to be that ginger ale one. Which one's that?
Well, I'm the resident Italian, so I can be the Beverly one. I'll take claim for that horrible soda that comes from my country.
It's your people. Yeah. I have a picture of my son drinking that for the first time, and the face it says it all. But yes, so there's Beverly t-shirts are a hoot. They crack me up when I see them.
There's people that go down there and do, I believe, some of the Sorcerer Radio gang, and they do like a yearly thing where the guy goes down there, one of the DJs, and does like 10 shots of it in a row, and then they vlog it and put it up on their website, and it's hysterical. It's just, and I know there's people that do that. They go down there yearly, and they see how many shots of that stuff they can take before they've had enough of it. And I just don't like going in that place because your feet stick to the floor. You walk in and it's like,
that is the weirdest thing.
It's so strange. It's like I gotta imagine that's how flies feel when they get stuck on paper.
There's like Ursula with her suction cups.
It's just like, it just
weird.
Feels so wrong. It's like this. I know it's clean because there's a guy there mopping every 3 seconds, but damn, it's just it's just odd. Like, I don't wear flip-flops around the park because my feet can't handle it, but that's got to be even worse. Like, it's like, if you lose a flip-flop on that floor, forget it. You're hopping out. Anyway, we're getting off on tangents, as we like to do.
Who, us?
Yeah, I know, yeah. So it seems like the cruise has just as much offerings as Magic Kingdom has.
They do, and, another great way to celebrate the Halloween on the High Seas is with your door decor. Door decor is a big deal no matter when you sail with Disney Cruise Line. The door frames to your stateroom, the doors themselves are magnetic, meaning you can stick magnets on them. Disney Cruise Line does not allow you to use adhesives, but they will let you use magnets to stick decorations up to your door. Or if you've ever heard of a fish extender, the fish extenders, they hang off of a fish or a seahorse, which is adjacent to your door. But the Halloween door decor is so much fun to look at. I've been looking at that online, trying to decide how I'm going to decorate my door this year. So in addition to all of the great things that are already offered, it's a great way to get excited for your trip, to, prepare the magnets, to get a little crafty. Most craft sections at the big box stores, or if you do have a big old craft store in your area, they sell either magnet paper, which is, 8.5 by 11 that you can actually put through your printer to make magnets, or little magnets that you can adhere to the back of something to make it magnetic so that it can stick to the door itself. If you are making magnets, though, I highly suggest getting a very strong magnet. For maintenance purposes, Disney paints those doors frequently, so there are several levels of paint between that steel door and your magnet, so you really do need a strong magnet, and they tend to slam kind of hard. It's part of the water safety features that they have. So get strong magnets, decorate those doors, and get excited for the holidays with that.
Magnet paper.
And Crystal... Yes, magnet paper. Crystal just put up her... I'm looking at our group's Facebook page, and Crystal just put up fantastic Christmas door decor. That's amazing. And adorable.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just use construction paper and then purchase... it's like magnet on one side and then like double stick tape on the other, and just use that on the door. But yeah, like you said, it takes some full strength magnets, because every time you close the door, it might slide down if not. And then we love to use a dry erase board too. And my husband will post trivia questions when we leave. And then he's so excited when somebody comes back and tries to answer the question throughout the day. So that's another cheese ball thing that we do on the cruise.
Oh, that's cool.
I've also seen on that, where it has like this day in Disney history. Like one of the days that we're going to be at sea is October 1st, and it'll be the 45th anniversary of the opening of Walt Disney World. So little this day in Disney history snippets on the doors. I've seen people get, real geeked out with that. And I love to see that. I'm like, that took some forethought to say, okay, which days am I going to be out at sea and what's been happening, historically on this day. So I love to see how people just get it. And some people will just throw up whatever magnets they have, and that is great. And others, oh my goodness, you can tell the thought that went into the meticulous placement of every magnet on the door. I think I'm somewhere in between the two. I like to have a theme, but then there are some magnets that I've had from each and every cruise, and I like to put those on the doors too. So I think I'm halfway between a well-designed door and let's just throw up the magnets. But it's also a great way to find your door in a long corridor of doors.
It's like a scene out of Monsters, Inc.
It really can feel like that.
All right. Well, going from Orlando to the seas. So now let's head over to the West Coast, where the Duchess will fill us in on all the Disneyland doings for the Halloween, because they have their version of the Halloween party at Disneyland.
Yeah, before I do, I just wanted to ask Adrian, did you guys finalize your costume? Are you doing Star Wars?
We are doing Star Wars. I was actually just checking to see the status of my order.
So who's going to be who?
Well, my daughter is completely obsessed with Rey, so she's Rey. And my son is BB-8, and then I'm going to be Leia, and my husband is going to be Han.
Nice.
That's amazing.
I'm really excited, too, for my costume, because, I didn't want to go traditional Leia white dress thing, but all the other costumes were too hot. There were too many layers, and I thought September in Florida, that's never going to work. Mm-hmm. So I found some white flowy pants and a white flowy top, so I'm not, afraid of showing some things on some rides or anything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Cool.
And then you'll see me with my hair in the double buns on the side.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Well, you gotta complete it.
gotta.
That's awesome. Okay, so Disneyland happenings. So we also have a Halloween party, but the difference. The parties are pretty much the same based on what you described, but I guess the biggest difference is that Disneyland's is not advertised as being not so scary. It's just called Mickey's Halloween Party, and it's definitely not on the same level as Universal's Horror Nights or anything like that, but it's definitely darker. The focus is all about the villains to the extreme. I'm not even sure if Mickey and Minnie are out that much. I don't remember seeing them much the last 2 times I went. And there's meet and greets with all the villains, basically take over Fantasyland and Main Street and sometimes Frontierland. They're just everywhere. And just like you guys were saying, it's the obscure ones too, like Frollo and the Queen of Hearts and Lady Tremaine and Dr. Facilier and just the people that are never normally in the parks. And then there's a parade of villains too that comes down Main Street, which is really cool. And they kind of disappear from the street, and all of a sudden there's all this smoke, and then they kind of parade down the street, and then it launches into the Halloween Screams fireworks show, which starts with Zero from The Nightmare Before Christmas. The dog, he kind of goes through the sky, and then he starts the show, which is pretty cool. There's definitely an excessive use of fog machines through New Orleans Square and Frontierland, which I love. It's so cool. We have the Cadaver Dans too, and they go on the rivers of America, and there's so much fog that you can't even see the water, so it just looks like they're floating. It's awesome. It's amazing. And they do have some special treats and stuff too, kind of like you were saying, in special merchandise, but that's not really as big of a deal, I don't think. I don't know a lot of people that wait to go and buy that merchandise because most of that stuff is already for sale. They have a lot of trick-or-treating stations too, just like it sounds like in Disney World. But I think the big draw is really just kind of the ambiance, because most of the lands have something Halloweenish. So Big Thunder Ranch is gone now. It was kind of the back area of Frontierland, so I'm not sure what they're going to do this time, but in previous years that became the haunted trail, and you'd walk through and there were scary noises, and there was a thunderstorm, and you'd hear rustling in the bushes, and it was just kind of ominous. And then they have these scarecrows in Frontierland that I thought were just animatronics or statues or something until he started yelling at me, and I started screaming because he just jumped up behind me and scared me. So they kind of have like little things like that scattered throughout. And then there's the dance party, and other than that, I think it's pretty much the same as what you guys were describing. But the only other major event I can think of is you can buy a package that I've never done because it's really expensive, but you have dinner in the Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant inside Pirates of the Caribbean, and Dr. Facilier hosts it. And they have special performances in the bayou, and there's fog in there too, and then you get premium seating for the Halloween Screams fireworks show. So that's kind of like the exclusive package that you can get. But other than that, it's just spooky and fun and awesome. And just like Crystal said, my favorite thing to do is just look at everybody else's costumes. Every year we always get dinner at this restaurant called the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe, which is right on the corner on Main Street overlooking the castle and the hub and everything. And it's just people watching. The costumes are incredible. People come up with the most clever stuff, and it makes me feel like my costume is so lame in comparison. But yeah, it's really fun.
Cool. Now, do they do anything at California Adventure, or no, it's just strictly Disneyland?
They used to have the Halloween party only in California Adventure, actually, and people were really mad because they thought it should be in Disneyland, so they moved it over. And when the park closes for the Halloween party, everybody that doesn't have a ticket kind of hops over to California Adventure. So actually the worst time ever to visit California Adventure is either during a grad night, which is those are always in California Adventure, or during the Halloween party, because people, I think California Adventure stays open later. Usually it's only open till 10 p.m., but because they all have to leave Disneyland for the Halloween party, I think they keep it open later for the Halloween party. So both parks are jammed. It's just opposite crowds. It's like normal visitors in California Adventure and then characters everywhere in Disneyland. So it's kind of funny.
Gotcha. Yeah, they do the same thing here. They'll extend the hours at the other parks. Not so much Animal Kingdom until at least the nighttime stuff gets going, but Epcot and or the studios will usually have late extra magic hours to take that burden of people that have to get out of the Magic Kingdom as well, just so they're not stuck in their hotel rooms. I mean, now with Disney Springs, though, it's going to be a whole different shuffling of people this year, because maybe a lot of people will head down there,
Right.
more dining reservations and so on and so forth. So we'll see how that all unfolds this year.
So I have a quick question. So with Haunted Mansion, do they still do the overlay of The Nightmare Before Christmas? And is that pretty cool if they do it?
Yeah, they do it from September through Christmas. So it doesn't debut during the Halloween party, but it's just like what you were saying in Disney World. It's the only ride during the Halloween party that has a ridiculous line. I don't think I've ever been on it during the Halloween party because it's always like 90 minutes to 2 hours. But it's a completely different ride with the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. It's a lot less spooky, and it's much more like cheerful, because obviously if you've seen The Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack wants to have a happy Christmas. He's not trying to be scary. So there's cheerful music playing, and there's Christmas presents everywhere, and the dining room smells like gingerbread, and it's very, very different. It's still really cool, but it's like a different ride basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's closed. It takes them forever to do it, too. Isn't it closed for like a month or a couple of weeks before to do the overlay?
It's like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
The Space Mountain closes for like 3 days to become the Ghost Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the Jingle Cruise happens in like late October, early November, and that's like a week or so. But the long one is the Haunted Mansion. And I guess I could see that because there's so many props that they add in.
Right.
It takes a long time, but it is cool. I don't like Ghost Galaxy, though. I'm not a fan, because the projections are so big that to light them up, you can see the track in a lot of places, so it kind of ruins the effect that you're like flying through outer space, because you can see where you're going.
That's bad. Yeah, they don't do anything with the one in the Magic Kingdom. I've never been to Disneyland, so I've never seen either one of them, but I do have the audio for both of those, and I do like the ride audio for the Haunted Mansion overlay, and the Ghost Galaxy soundtrack is pretty cool.
Yeah, my favorite part of the Haunted Mansion overlay is the elevator stretching room because they have this really, well, you've heard it if you've listened to it, the creepy, ominous, like Christmas carols.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is very odd. And I know we're not there yet, but I like the Small World one as well. The overlay that they do with that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, they do that too.
We did do the Jingle Cruise when I was there last Thanksgiving, so I did get to experience that. So that was pretty good. I mean, I like the Jungle Cruise. It's up there with one of my favorite things. I know it's campy and I know it's corny, and if you don't have the right skipper, then it kind of ruins it. I mean, I've been lucky over the years. I haven't really had too many duds, and I'm generally the only person who laughs on the boat unless my father's with me. He laughs too. So I know they always appreciate that, and I always tell them good job when I get off the boat and give them thumbs up, and I'm dorky like that, but listen, they got to say whatever their shift is, they're saying that thing so many times that you got to make it funny, and you got to be
absolutely,
you got to be into it. You can't just stand there a humdrum, because then it's just then it's a brutal 10 minutes. If nobody's laughing and you're not putting it all out there for it. But so but the Jungle Cruise one was good. It was pretty funny, the change around and stuff. So no matter which coast you're on, or even if you're not on any coast and you're out at sea, there's definitely plenty of doings for the Halloween party. Just wanted to share a couple other personal things I remember just from Halloween party and experience-wise from the three that I've gone to. Like I said, the first one I didn't really get to see much because my kids were way too young and it was too late, and it was, we'll save that for the mistake episode where you just, I kept them out longer than they needed to be out, so it was just everybody was just miserable and not having a good time that one. But the second one that we went to, they were older and dressed up in costumes and everything, and that was a lot of fun. That was Jack Sparrow was out, so we had waited in line, and because we were all in pirate costumes, and he talked to my son, and it was great. I've pretty good pictures of that, and I just kind of stood there like an idiot and clammed up because I was just like, I'm standing next to Jack Sparrow and I'm dressed as Blackbeard. I should probably have something cool to say or do some sort of interaction with him, but I just stood there like a dope and just watched him interact with my kid, and that was enough for me. But afterwards, I remember talking to my wife about it. I'm like, what an idiot, man! It's just like a bumbling fool standing there, because even though it's a character and it's not Jack Sparrow or Johnny Depp, it just still was. I don't know. I still get that way when I see Mickey Mouse too. I'm like, I don't know what to say. So, but I do remember that trip because that was 2011. So that's when the last pirate movie that's out on Stranger Tides came out. So they had a walk around Angelica character, and she did meets and greets in the pirates in the queue where usually Goofy is dressed as a pirate. So she was doing meet and greet there, and we had done the Pirates League earlier that day. So I, got done up in that, which didn't really make me look much different because I think I had a beard at the time and I wear a bandana anyway. So just kind of did some other stuff. So taking a picture with her was really cool. She totally played into it because I have a big pirate themed tattoo on my arm, so that was cool. And I remember when the parade was coming, she was out on the float with Barbossa and Jack Sparrow. Those of you who are familiar with the parade, the float that he's on, Jack Sparrow's way up at the top, Barbossa's kind of midway through, and they had Angelica standing, I believe, down on the lowest level of the float. And I'll subscribe to this just because it's me and it makes me feel special, but when we were standing kind of in the hub near Tomorrowland, on the bridge going over to Tomorrowland, and when the float was coming around the corner from the hub, I remember seeing her and, waving or whatever, and I remember her, I say she recognized me because I was undoubtedly the only dude walking around in full pirate costume with the hat. I had a full gray beard on and a gray wig and the whole 9 yards. I don't know that she recognized me from earlier in the day, but she nodded and tipped her hat. So I'll always go with that. That was special for me because I was technically her father dressed up as Blackbeard, but who knows? Could have been some other little kid behind me that she was doing it to. But so that always sticks out to me, and that makes me feel special. Even though it probably was all for nothing. But so anybody got anything else for Halloween?
I could share a little story, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
So 2 years ago, I went to the park with my roommates, and we were the cast of Frozen, and I was Elsa. And when we went into Tomorrowland, there was a whole parade of stormtroopers coming through, and they spotted me. And because I was visiting royalty, they cleared the pathway for me, and they bowed to me, and then they escorted me to the photo area. And they all took pictures, like kissing my hand, and I got escorted around the land. But I had an army by the end. It was really cool.
That's really cool. I love stuff like that. Like I geek out with stuff like that because where else is that going to happen? That it's not going to be creepy,
Right?
It's
it
like
was awesome.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. The only other thing I can think of on top of all the entertainment and candy stations and everything else, they do, I believe, have other no special foods. There are restaurants that are open. I don't think everything is open. A couple of quick serves are open throughout the Magic Kingdom, but they do, I believe, do special cupcakes in the bakery that are themed for Halloween. I have not seen anything for what's going to be for this year, so I'm not sure, but I do know they do have that. I think cupcakes seems to be their new thing that they like to put either special characters on them and themed for different times of the year. So we'll have to keep a lookout for that. And Adrian will be the first one of our troop to check that out, since she'll be at that very first party at the beginning of November.
September. I have no problem being the research girl for snacks and candies. That's totally cool with me.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that about wraps up our little Halloween tour of all the different Disney properties that you can visit throughout this time of year. Now, Halloween season, much like the Christmas season, starts about 2 months too early and promptly ends the day after Halloween. I imagine this week they must be starting to put up the decorations if they have not already. It'll be ready to go full bloom for that first Halloween party on September 2nd, and then it'll go right through to Halloween. Sometimes they have one November 1st, and then poof, the next day it's Christmas. Magic of those cast members that work those overnight shifts to get that stuff done. Christmas doesn't happen as fast. It does take a little longer for them to get that everything full on for the parks and all the resorts, because they get a little more elaborate with that than with Halloween. But it is just as amazing for either holiday on how they do it. So with that, we're going to wrap this up. And so, as we do at the end of every episode, we will go around the room here and give our social media accounts so everybody can follow along with us. So we'll start with Adrian tonight.
All right. My blog is at wdwbound.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at AdriWDWBound and Twitter at WDWBound_com.
Awesome. And Jessica?
So my blog is Duchess of Disneyland. You can also find me on Facebook at Duchess of Disneyland. My Twitter is Duchess Jessica, and then Instagram is The Duchess of Disneyland.
All right, very good. And Milford?
You can find my blog at milfordhutzel.com. That's my Milford on the Move blog. I'm also on Facebook, Milford on the Move, and Twitter, Milford on Move. And I also wanted to mention this weekend is the 9th annual Indie Disney Meet to benefit Give Kids the World. For those of you that don't know what Give Kids the World is, that's the village in Orlando that supports Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they are actually the organization that puts together all these trips for the Make-A-Wish kids to Disney World and Universal and different places in Orlando. This is their 9th annual meet. Anybody that's listening in the Indiana area, or if you want to drive further, that's fine too. You can look up Indie Disney Meet on Facebook. It is scheduled for this Saturday from 1 to 7 at the Hamilton County Fairgrounds here in Noblesville, Indiana. And they will have lots of different stuff. Princesses, people dressed up as princesses. 501st Stormtrooper, the Bloodfin Division from here in Indianapolis will be there in costumes. And they'll have a couple different levels of silent auctions going. Just for example, last year they raised close to $20,000 for Give Kids the World through doing this. So there's lots of kids activities and other such festivities, and it includes a Dole Whip machine.
Can't go wrong with
Can't
that.
get that out.
Sold.
Get that places outside of Disney World. So
No.
that's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, that Give Kids to the World is a fantastic organization. There is a lot of, I know there's other podcasts that do stuff with that and are affiliated and do charity events and runs and meetups, so that they definitely are a good organization, and they do help out kids in need and families in need. So that's awesome that they do that out there.
And Mike Relman from
Be Our Guest.
Is going to actually be here.
Oh, nice.
Doing his podcast from the show, from the meet. So
fantastic. He was the one I was thinking of because I know he does do a lot of things for them.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And one other thing that has to do with what you said, the 501st, those guys are fantastic too. They do a ton of stuff for kids, and there is garrisons all over the world and all over the country. So I follow them on Instagram at the official 501st. They put out great pictures. They're always at children's hospitals, and even if you don't have a child in need or a sick child, they can organize events and anything. Your wedding, anniversary parties. They're a fantastic organization all the way around. I mean, they're overseas, they're everywhere. And the costumes that they have and of all the different either types of stormtroopers, Magna Guards, Jawas, Tusken Raiders. I mean, you name a character from Star Wars, there's somebody involved in it, and so that's another.
And even the Rebel side too.
Yes,
you have people from the Rebel side too.
They do have people from the Rebel side, but the dark side's cooler. So
I agree.
All right, so for our missing members that had to attend to other things as we were finishing up this recording, you can find Crystal on Twitter, and she is at Disney Brewing. And for Melanie, you can catch her on her website, which is at www.prepschool.com for all your Disney cruise needs, planning, and Halloween cruise planning and fish extenders and everything that she was talking about you can find over on her site. And they're also on Twitter at DCL Prep School and on Instagram and Pinterest at DCL Prep. And as for myself, you can find me on Facebook at RJ Lucia Jr. and on Twitter, Instagram, and the Periscope at BlackPearl454. And as far as for Diz Explorers, we are on Facebook as the Diz Explorers. We're also on Twitter at the Diz Explorers and Instagram at the Diz Explorers. And you can also not watch, but listen to our podcast on YouTube, and you can search for us, Diz Explorers, on there. And if that's your preferred method, then thank you very much, and we appreciate that. For those of you that listen on iTunes, we would appreciate a rating and a review. It's always nice to hear how we're doing from the listeners, and it also helps us out just knowing where we stand with the many Disney podcasts that are out there. And you can also, other platforms that we are on are Stitcher and TuneIn, for those of you who do not have an Apple product. And I have not gotten a chance to listen for myself yet, but I know Jessica was on a guest on another podcast, I believe it was this week, called Talk About the Magic.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. I'm glad to see that our members are their knowledge is being spread out through other Disney podcasts. It's always great to know that means people are listening and either seeking them out through us or through their own personal accounts. But either way, that's very cool, and I do look forward to listening to that myself and checking that out. So with that, that'll wrap up our Halloween episode, and we will talk to everybody next week.
That was thrilling, wasn't it? And now, to end our ghostly gathering, we invite you to partake in our favorite Halloween tradition, the Scream-Along.